We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Davidson County Sheriff Daron Hall is with us this morning. Our final segment, Brian waited through the break. So let's go to him real quick. And Brian, good morning.
Hey, real quick joke about this small town sheriff. A long time ago, it was a little small town sheriff. And before he was sheriff, he elected, he was a veterinarian. So he started at both. There's a lot of, police people will do in little towns way back out, yonder. That wear more than one hat. And one night the phone rang, his wife answered. And the voice said, "Is your husband there?" And the wife said, "Do you require services as a sheriff or a vet?" And the caller said, "Both. We can't get our dog's mouth open, and there's a burglar in it."
I like it. All right.
Sheriffs got to wear a lot of hats, though, sometimes, don't they? Especially the small town ones, like Cannon County, Benton County. They're like preacher, soldier, chef.
Can anyone, that's, I know it's changed of late, because now you have to have a certain certification. Was there a time not too long ago where anyone could just run for sheriff? I mean, I guess anyone can run if you have the right background. Now, what kind of, like if I decided I want to run for sheriff in Wilson County at some point, all right, but I'm a reporter, I'm a journalist, what kind of background would I have to run?
By the way, it is more stringent than President of the United States.
Is it? To run?
I mean, the way it's set up. And there are a couple of these. You have to pass psychological. That's not true for the President of the United States.
Okay.
You have to pass background check. That's not true for the President of the United States. You have to prove you live in the area and a registered voter, or at least on the voter in that area. You have to be post-certified.
What does that mean? That's the stumbling block. Because those other things, I think I could pass the psychological if I had character references like you.
But I wouldn't pass mine if I was giving you a reference. I'm telling you that would not happen.
What is post-certified?
It basically means that you're a law enforcement officer. You do not have to have that in metropolitan areas like Nashville. Or only Nashville, I guess, because of the job isn't post-certified.
It's a little different. But if you're somewhere else, then I would have had to have a background of some type in law enforcement as a police officer or a deputy at some point.
And don't hold me to this.
Okay.
It may have an "or" in there, or you must be within the first 6 months of taking the job. There's some clause about that. I can't remember whether it's on the pre-test or after. If you're elected, you must go become post-certified. Basically means trained to be a law enforcement officer. I think that's ridiculous to be a requirement, by the way.
Do you? Just because?
The mayor doesn't have a clue how to drive a dump truck. The President of the United States can't fly a jet plane.
But wouldn't it help if I had a background in law enforcement in terms of my hiring and understanding maybe certain things about what I need in a deputy and all this? Or I could have people do that for me and be an administrator that runs the...
Right. I mean, I don't... my sister lives in the smallest county in the state of Tennessee. So, I mean, in a county like that, the sheriff may arrest people himself or herself. I would recommend you don't do that because you're getting paid a lot of money to arrest people. I mean, your job is not to arrest people.
Right.
And most people who are running organizations like this, that's what you're hired to do. If you want to elect people who know how to arrest people, you don't need a leader. Just hire 50 troopers and let them control the state. So
I see what you're saying.
The point is, the job of sheriff is not arresting people.
I agree. Okay.
And so
the job of sheriff, and I know yours is a little different, but in general, as president of the Sheriff's Association National, which is a big deal, you would say the primary job, maybe the 3 or 4 most important tasks of a sheriff are what?
So let me say this. On the way over here, I talked to Chief Anderson.
Okay.
Good man, chief of police, been here 40 years.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't arrested a person in 30 years.
Right. Okay, and that's not,
why in the world
for lack of trying, he doesn't have to go out and do that. He has his officers do that.
Right, and when you become the assistants and all that, I mean, there's just, and so the purpose is not, I'm not taking it away from people who've done it that way. There's a route to be, I mean, who are the best football coaches?
Yeah, it's not always the ones that played the game.
The best players are never.
Very rarely.
Michael Jordan can't coach.
Very rare. You're right.
I mean, it doesn't work. And so what I'm saying is, what you want in a position like this, in my opinion, is an understanding of the job. That's important. I don't think you have to have that by having. It doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's the answer to our problem. Most people in executive positions in our government, if you look at it. Good legislative people are never good executives. Presidents, governors, mayors. Typically, you want someone who has executive experience, understands the role of an executive. You don't want legislative people. They can't hardly get the government to work. in most cases. And so, in my opinion, a sheriff in any county, Wilson, these that have law enforcement and jails and SROs and all that, I don't think you do yourself any. You know, Jeff Long wasn't a deputy sheriff in Williamson County. I mean, it's been years and years ago. He was a TBI agent, you know, working, has nothing to do with what was going on in Williamson County, and he was a really good sheriff. And so, it's not, you know, to me, it doesn't disqualify you, but I think it's not, I don't like it that it's a requirement of a person to run for sheriff that you must be post-certified.
Yeah, you could exclude, in your opinion, maybe some quality candidates.
Right.
That
I mean,
consider maybe running.
I don't know. Pick your favorite coach in the world. If Nick Saban, I promise you, has never played quarterback.
Yeah, right.
I
see your point. And he's a
right, and
coach,
he was not even a good player, by the way.
Yeah.
Or he'd played pro football. He never played pro football. He never played major college
But he
football.
knows the game, and he was around it. See, I don't doubt that you serving as chief deputy for all those years, and maybe some degree, you've seen what your father did, at least in the public forum, served you well, as opposed to if you had come over, say, from working at Monsanto. Which, by the way, Sheriff Enoch George in Murray County had worked in Monsanto. And now, that was a long time ago he was elected. I don't know if those rules have changed, but I thought he was a fine sheriff in Murray County for several years. Looked the part.
He did.
You know, but I believe he worked at Monsanto before. I mean, he had a private job, and then I don't know what he maybe did with law enforcement. Then he ran for sheriff and won.
See, it's funny you say this. We were having this conversation around our office the other day. You know, 40 or 50 people work there. They're all executive level, management level people, and so, and you ask yourself this question when we leave and figure this out. But if the doors are glued shut in the next 2 seconds, you know, boom, they're locked. I was asking the question, who would people follow? Okay, so my question is, it's not, you can't teach leadership, I don't really believe. I'm not saying I'm a leader or not, but I think people will decide who leaders are and where you came from and how we have a Marine, we've got technology people, we got finance people, we got HR people, we got loud people that jump up and claim to be the leader. No one's going to follow them. Right. Other people, the way they carry themselves, are going to follow. And I think some of that happens in these types of jobs where, I mean, Enoch George, most people don't know, didn't have a background in law enforcement, as you mentioned.
That's what I thought.
He did not. But he looked the part, acted the part. He was a leader.
And
he was good at it.
And he was a leader, and he learned on the job, and he went to all those training courses that people have to once you become sheriff. And
I think that's okay. And again, I've never really liked the requirements to run for office because we don't require that for more important jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, we
you're
elect
right.
people.
Congress. You know, you can run for Congress. Anyone can. I can. You can tomorrow for Congress. Now you get there and you see all these incoming freshmen, and they go through a course to learn the basics of some of the legislative policy. But anyone can run for Congress. Now, to win, you got to have money, unfortunately, and we can get in a whole different debate about what it takes to win Congress. But what
is the office of mayor?
Yeah.
Why don't you have requirements? Because we elected a guy, Bill Boner, had a physical education degree.
Yeah. Okay.
His background was he went to high school and college and got a physical education degree, became the mayor. Most people, we have lawyers that become mayors. Mayor Berry, her background really was minimal, other than legislative. It takes it. So I just think if you're going to make the requirement to be sheriff something that has a specific skill in it, which is post-certification, I personally don't understand that.
I'm with you. I like that idea, because someday I have aspirations.
Well, that's what I think.
In a pinch, I mean, I don't know when Rick's going to step aside, but I mean, now I don't know. He's not your chief deputy. Who's your chief deputy?
John Ford.
I mean, could I be the chief deputy's deputy?
I doubt it.
No. I mean, so I don't have the requirements to go in there and work the gig. Look, I can investigate. I can. Well, I mean, you don't really need that. Don't think I'd be good in the jail.
Why don't you just chalk it up for another good year in journalism, and
all I can say is we're lucky we have such a good sheriff here in Davidson County.
Well, thank you. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. Hopefully I'll see you out there at the Last Minute Toy Store.
We'll
just to remind everyone, go to the website. And if you know of a family that's in need and it's coming down the stretch, mention that to them. And up till the very last second, not just minute, they can get in and get toys for their loved ones. Sheriff, thank you for doing that, and thanks for everything you do for this great city. We'll see you in the new year.
Sound great. Thank you very much.
All right, be back with a programming note right after this. And that is